Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. If this is your first video, hi, I'm Arlathea. So for this one, we're actually doing a dragon again. This was supposed to be last week's video, but because it's August, I said we're gonna skip it. So yes, here are my chicken scratch sketches. Also the end of this sketchbook, so yay, we're on a new one. But here's the line, the really initial sketch. This took me maybe 4 times to get right. Like to the point where I liked it. And I was like, no. I think at one point now I actually had the line art done and I looked at it and I was like, no. I'm redoing this again, so I did. So here I'm just like, you can see how I sketch because I have those green lines just for like the basic placement, pretty much. And then after that, I go in with, so I start doing with like a lighter pencil to kind of get more of the lines in and just kind of try and get more proportionate as best I can. So that's what I'm doing here is I'm trying to give myself more like structured lines now. So when I go back in with the darker pencil, it's easier to follow for like details and stuff. Because you can see how I did the rest of the drawing. Sorry, my dog keeps throwing himself on the back of my legs because I'm standing. He's like pushing me. Uh, oh yes, here I am sharpening. Gotta get that in there. But yeah, this is what I normally do is I always just start off with that green sketch pencil. I just started doing that just to kind of add a little more color and more interest. Not that it really matters, but because before I would just go in with like a darker pencil, it would mess up the lines a little bit. But then I had to switch pencils because the one I was using was like done. So I started using like a thick dark pencil and I didn't like the lines because it looked really bad to me because I like skinny lines. I don't like thick lines for my stuff. So I found a lighter pencil, started using lighter pencil, but because it was so light and I do a lot of like lines still, I needed a way to tell like what line I was actually going to use. So then that's when I just picked the lighter pencil and then that's just like a regular, plain lead pencil. So then I do with that because it's still skinny, but it's like the darker lines. So I actually like that better. So yes, I'm essentially drawing it 5 times actually. So I have the green sketch, the light pencil, the dark pencil, the line art, and then I do the line art again a second time. So I'm drawing this 5 times. So exciting. But that's what works for me and it makes it easier for the colors. For just drawing and whatnot. And that way I can kind of get a better idea of what the lines look like. Little extra work, but gotta do what you gotta do. Other people are really good with just going straight in with no pre-line work, using a full-on pen and creating a masterpiece. But I'm like, I'm not that brave. I am basic. I prefer pen and pencil to start off with because I'm like, nope. Now if I'm doing the sketches like you saw at the beginning, I don't really care about those. Those will be pen because those don't matter. And the problem is sometimes because I don't try in the pen sketches, I like those a lot better than I do when I actually try. And I'm wondering if y'all probably feel the same way sometimes if you're an artist and that happens. You don't try, it looks really good. You actually try and you're like, what the hell is that? You look at your sketch and you're like, that looks nothing like what I just did. Happens to me all the time. And I don't get it. But yeah, so as you can see, I already got some of the drawing done. That's just what I like doing is I like to get part of the drawing done and then just like certain sections. And then after that, I like to show whatever I've left, whatever I picked out to show you guys the color. Just so you can kind of see the differences and like what it looks like after and what it looks like before. So it's kind of like a fun comparison. And like you don't need to see like every single thing I do because some of it is repetitive. Like it's just not necessary. Like 1 or 2 things is fine, but you don't need to sit there and watch every single thing. That would be like a live stream situation. I don't know if I will ever be able to do those, but maybe one day we'll see. Uh, but I also did try to do a little bit of perspective, like with the leg, because the front left leg does look short, But I was thinking like it was kind of facing forward, but it was like she was kind of standing back. I also never said this is the month series. I never said that. Oh gosh. Yeah, so this is my month series that I have, and it's February. So the month series, I pick 3 colors that represent that month. So for me, February, is Valentine's Day is the first thing, so pink. And then I choose, and then for other 2 colors, I look at like the month's flower. I think I don't remember what it was, and then gem. And I look and see what colors they were. So that would be the colors for the month. But you can see on the leg, back to the leg, is that it looks shorter, but I was thinking like the way it's looking, like it's pushed backwards, like she's stepping up, I guess, but pushing it back. So I was trying to convey that. I don't think it worked very well, but I was trying because that was my idea. So that's where we're at. Yeah. But yeah, you can kind of see me just go through because this whole part, like under her wing, because her wing's like folded over her body almost. Like it's still up, but it's over. Um, was like that whole part of her was like in shadow. So I'm also trying to be better about that too, and like following the lines better, because I do have a problem with that, especially like if it's multicolors. I don't always follow along with the shadows correctly, and it's kind of an issue, and I'm aware of that, so I'm trying to fix it. So like I'm trying to like be more conscious about what I'm doing. So I was thinking that that whole part of her body is underneath shadow because a wing is on top of it. So that's what I was trying to go for. Like even like her chest and whatnot, that's still under shadow, but because it is a gem, I still wanted to have like the lighter parts in there to kind of represent the shininess of the gem. Because I know like gems do have several different colors. If you hear my dog bark, I'm sorry. He is growling at the neighbors and I don't know why. They're across the street, they're not coming over here and he wants to growl at them. I don't know why. Love him to death, but I don't know why he does that. Um, but so you can kind of see where it's like I am almost mapping out, but it's like I'm trying to think about where the hell the shadow is because I'm trying to improve on that situation because I am very bad about it. Like even with the petals on her belly, I did try to give them like the underside kind of lighting, like the sun is reaching them to make them a little bit lighter, not just like straight shadow, you know? So that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to improve on that. But because I'm only using 3 colors, the gem kind of off. When I do colored pencil, I can add a little more different colors. But at least with this, I'm trying to get like an idea of where like the darker shadows are. Is what I'm trying to do. So sometimes it's hard, but that was my decision to switch to 3 colors only. But I think overall it works a lot better because it doesn't make it nearly as dark as if I was doing 5. All right, so now we're doing colored pencil. But you can kind of see up there what I'm talking about, like in the different colored gems already. With that colored pencil, it's all pencil pretty much, except for the grass right here, which is what I'm coloring. But the rest of her is all done, except for her head and her neck, which you'll see. Uh, but yeah, since I had more purples I was using, I was able to kind of get more of a gem effect. I was not looking at anything while I did these, I just did them. I'm just aware that gems have several different colors within them. So that's what I was trying to mimic here. I'm not going for realism, so it's like that's why I don't look at references, because I'm like, it's not really what I'm doing. This is all just from me. Um, I think it looks fine overall. If you did do like an actual comparison, no. But for something like this, my style, I think it works. Even the yellow, I did do a little bit lighter on. It's still dark, but because of the shadows, it needed to be dark. But it doesn't look nearly like as dirty, you know? It still kind of does, but it's not terrible. I didn't know what color to do the sky, so I just made it purple because I was like, I have no idea. So we just did purple. But I do think the gems look cool though because of the the different purples and the different sections. Like they're not blended, so it makes it look interesting because it kind of gives almost like a 3D effect. So I was trying to think if the light's coming from the left side, that's where the lighter ones would be. But because it's almost bumpy, I didn't want to have it like smooth. So I was trying to make it seem like it had like yeah, like it was bumpy, like it had like ridges and stuff, like it's not a smooth gem. That's what I was kind of trying to do. So I think overall actually it does look kind of cool though. I mean, at times it was hard to tell what like where the lines were because they kind of blended in together. But I would just pick like one color like one or two sections, move on to the next one, and just kind of fill it in as best I could that way. So it gives it an interesting effect. I'm not saying it looks like an actual gem, but it does give the impression of one, which I think is cool. But if you are curious, I did do January a while ago, so you can go back and look at January. So yeah, next up will be March. But when I do finish this series eventually, whenever that will be, I have no idea. I'm actually going to do if different animals, so don't worry. I don't know what animal will be next, but we'll get when we get there, we'll figure it out. So right now we're just doing dragons because it's dragons. Dragons are definitely one of my stronger points. But even with the three colors, I still had to keep it kind of like in the rules of the way I do dragons. So that's why she looks the way she does. I mean, the flowers and stuff, those are a little tricky, but oh, I did also try adding a little bit of pink on the tips of the flowers because when I was looking at the actual flowers, because sometimes I do look at references if I need to. Like for the flowers, I need to know what the flower looks like so I can just make a sketch of it. So I saw like um so flowers do have like tips on the end that are colored in like the center. So that's what I was trying to copy here. And I think it looks kind of cool. You can't tell. I made it subtle because I was like, I don't want to make it super obvious. I don't mind being a little more subtle, so that's what I did. And I think it worked. The smaller ones, it was harder to do. I don't really think I did the smaller ones that much because I'm like, you can't really tell anything. The rest of them I did. But so rule wise, like the way the flowers are set is normally where I have like the frills or the spikes or whatever. But they're flowers, but because I made the flowers yellow, I kept them just straight yellow with a little bit of the pink tip. The round scales that I give them, I just made the gem because that's kind of what made sense because the gem's like the third color, and that's where the third color goes. Second color is where you see all the yellow, and the first color is where you see all the pink. So element wise, she is emotions, lightning slash thunder, and poison would technically be her elements color wise. So I actually might try and start doing that though. Was like tell you what elements they are because in my story I have, if you want to read it and follow along, I have it on here. It's called Arlathea. I have elements in my story. There's 16 of them, so that's three. So everybody has three, except for if you're an elemental, which my main character is an elemental. She has all 16, but she has four colors, so she's a little bit tricky. So it's funny when I do everybody else, I don't know what I'm doing, but with her, it's like I know where all the colors go because it's actually easier with four. But the normal rule is it's only three colors. And it could be any of the 16 elements together in any like color. It doesn't matter. So I gotta keep within my own rules, and that's what I'm trying to do. That's why everything you see, if you look at my other stuff too, they're all three colors because I have to keep within the rules. But I also kind of put my own twist on them because they are kind of from my world. So it's like what makes sense, you know. So that's what I'm trying to do. That's also kind of why she almost has like a pattern that she does. But I don't really do patterns on the dragons. That's what all the extra scales are for, is that is kind of like a pattern. Because I don't do patterns very much. I don't like to. I'm trying to do them a little bit, but I don't like to. I'm trying to branch out a tiny bit more. But on the dragons, they don't get patterns. Other things do, because my other characters, they all have patterns, kind of. But dragons definitely don't get patterns. There's already a lot involved with them as is. I'm like, they don't need more. Sometimes they need less, but I'm like, no. This is what I wanted to do. Plus, the dragons are kind of unique to the way I do them. They're not like what you would normally see either. Because nobody else really does them the way I do it, which is nice. Because mine are just different in that aspect. I mean, everyone does their dragon differently. However, the way I have them set up, nobody else does. Because they all like add a bunch of different things and all that stuff, but it's just like the way I do them, like this that you see, is like unique to me. And that's what I'm trying to do with some other stuff too, is like make it unique to like my specific style, you know? So, yeah. I gotta add on like the little extra bits and whatnot, because everyone does. Oh yeah, that white helped the gems too. Just kind of add, because I know there's like white in the gems. So I didn't add the white a whole bunch, but just having it in there did help. It's almost like a highlight. But yeah, I did start doing that too, where it's like I just don't really add the color on there yet, and I just kind of go in with one color, and it helps sit on top of the marker better before I go in with anything else. Just makes it look nicer. And it's also kind of subtle too. Like it pops, but it's subtle. It's nice. But I think overall the gems turned out really nicely, considering how I'm just kind of just doing them. Because they don't look bad at all. Look pretty good. But yeah, I gotta work on the yellow a little bit still. It still looks a tiny bit dirty, but I think we're slowly improving because I'm trying to figure out as I go. So we'll have to see as I do more what I figure out. Because some of the stuff I kind of figure out as I go. But it's like I'm also trying to experiment a little bit and make them a little different. So it's not like just the same stuff. Because I'm not a huge lighting person. So I'm trying to add that in a tiny bit. Like I'm slowly getting there because at times I will kind of add in like the little sliver of like extra light like on the shadow side. Like colors bouncing off of there. But I don't want to do it a whole bunch yet. Because it's still new to me. But it's like I'm trying to do something like that. Just to kind of add a little bit more. Yeah, there's some stuff we're still trying to figure out, but I think overall I am getting better as time goes on. Because I'm also like learning more things, so it's helping. And I'm trying to not make it so dark either. I'm trying to lighten it up a little bit, but the way it looks is like also pertinent to me because I don't want anything super bright. Like that's not. I'm not that kind. Like I don't like that stuff. I don't like the cutesy bright stuff. I like kind of semi-realism on the darker side. That's what I'm after. So for me, I think I achieved that style-wise because it works. But yeah, there are times I wish something was a little brighter, so it's like I'm trying to figure that out. But I've kind of learned like if I can put a certain like the color down first and just leave it like a I guess almost like a highlight color, like an extra lighting, if I just leave it kind of helps. And then just go around it cuz it makes it look a little brighter, but it's like subtle, but it's almost but it just kind of gives a different color. So that's what I'm trying to go for. But here is the finished drawing. So it looks pretty good overall. Didn't turn out too bad. I think the colors do work well together. Yeah, so I was trying to like figure out the shading, like with the wing overlapping, but I think for the most part I got it right. But that is the end. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!